Okay, so in this series, we have the 1998 Yankees going up against the 1986 New York Mets, best of seven Strat-O-Matic series. Through a coin flip, New York Mets have the home field advantage. I would say going into this series that this series is pretty much of a push. The teams are pretty much equal across the board. Both of them have really good lineups, very good starting pitching. I would say the best starting pitchers card in this set between the two teams is definitely Bobby Ojeda. I would give the edge defense to the Yankees. The Mets do have a couple of holes in the field, specifically Wally Backman at second base. They have him as a three, and I think he was like an E30 that year or something along those lines. So I definitely give the edge defensively to the Yankees. However, I do give a very big edge bullpen wise to the 86 Mets. Even though obviously the 1998 Yankees had Mariano Rivera, I definitely give bullpen depth edge to the Mets as they had Jesse Orosco and Roger McDowell, both three-inning relievers. Rick Aguilera is a pretty good card too as well. And really outside of Mariano Rivera, 98 Yankees, you got Graham Lloyd, who had a really good card. He was only a one inning reliever, however. Ramiro Mendoza has a good card as well, but not great. And the rest of the bullpen is really pretty spotty at best. So that's how these two teams line up going into this series. So let's check out game number one. We have David Wells going up against Dwight Gooden, and you could see the 1998 Yankees take game number one by a score of 2-1. Chuck Knobloch actually led off the series with a home run, and David Wells goes seven and a third, only allowing one run on seven hits. And Mariano Rivera gets a inning and two-thirds save as he's able to close the door on a 2-1 New York Yankees game one victory. Now, moving on to game number two, the 86 Mets were able to jump on David Cone. Back-to-back doubles by Wally Backman and Keith Hernandez, then a two-out, two-run homer by Darryl Strawberry, and the Mets were able to hold on to a 3-2 win. Pretty good outing by David Cone as he goes six innings, give up three runs. And Bob Ojeda mentioned how good his card was from 1986. Seven innings, one run, eight hits, one walk, and Jesse Orosco gets the two-inning save. So after two games, the 98 Yankees and the 86 Mets are tied a game apiece. Now, in game number three, with the game at the 1998 New York Yankees, put the DH back into the lineups. And what I decided to do for this game was I went with Howard Johnson at DH for the 86 Mets. What I actually did was I went back and I checked the box scores to the 1986 World Series when the Mets went back to Boston, and they actually had Danny Heap play DH that game. However, I decided to go with Howard Johnson, even though Hojo and Heap both have kind of similar cards. It's just I decided to go with Howard Johnson just because he has a little more pop in his bat, and facing a righty in Orlando Hernandez, I just thought maybe Hojo can pop one out or something with a short right field porch. So in game number three, we have Ron Darling going up against Orlando Hernandez, and let's take a look at what happened. So you can see in this game, top of the seventh inning in a 3-3 tie after Gary Carter and Darryl Strawberry led off the top of the seventh with back-to-back singles off of Graham Lloyd. I brought in Ramiro Mendoza to pitch to Ray Knight. Ray Knight gets an RBI single that scores Gary Carter for the fourth run of the game for the Mets, and they were able to hold it from there. Once again, a very solid outing out of the bullpen by Jesse Orosco as he goes two scoreless innings, one run, two hits, three strikeouts. So after three games, the 1986 Mets lead the series 2-1 over the 1998 Yankees. Game number four, we had a battle of the two number four starters for the Mets and the Yankees. You had Sid Fernandez going for the Mets and Andy Pettitte going for the Yankees. Both pitchers pitched really well. Pettitte went five and a third, one run. Sid Fernandez, six innings, one run. But once again, we're going to see in this game the dominance of the Mets bullpen. Roger McDowell would get the win, going 3 innings, 3 scoreless innings, no hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Jesse Orosco would get the save, allowing 1 unearned run in 1 inning pitched. It was in this game where the Yankees' lack of bullpen depth really came back to bite them because after 5 1/3 innings, I pulled Andy Pettit with 2 on and 1 out. And I brought in Graham Lloyd to get Darryl Strawberry and Ray Knight out, and then Lloyd was able to retire the side in the 7th inning. Mariano goes innings 8 and 9, 2 scoreless innings, no hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. But Mariano is just a 1 inning reliever. I had him go 2, so he was in his point of weakness, even though it was 2 scoreless innings with no hits, just a 1 inning reliever. Keep that in mind. So going into the top of the 10th, I decided to go with Mike Stanton for the Yankees. And the reason why I decided to do that was because I just didn't want to bring in Nelson and have the Mets bring their lefty bats off the bench, guys like Danny Heap and Howard Johnson. So I decided to go with Mike Stanton, and sure enough, Tim Tuffle hits a home run off of him to lead off the 10th inning, and then 2 batters later, Len Dykstra gives the Mets a insurance run to give the Mets a 3-1 lead, and that turned out to be a really big hit because the Yankees were able to scratch a run across in the bottom half of the 10th. You had Brocious with a leadoff single, then Chuck Knobloch walked. Derek Jeter hit into a double play. Bernie Williams reaches on a Rafael Santana error, and Darryl Strawberry made the last out of the game. So another save for Jesse Orosco in this series. 4 innings pitched by the Mets bullpen, allowing just 1 unearned run. So again, we're seeing that Met bullpen really thrive in this series. So after 4 games, we've got the 86 Mets up 3 games to 1. Okay, so moving on to game number 5 now, we have a rematch of the game 1 starters, Dwight Gooden going for the Mets and David Wells going for the Yankees. Mets up 3 games to 1 going into this game 5. And as we could see, the Yankees were able to jump on Dwight Gooden pretty well. Gooden just 3 1/3 innings, allowing 7 runs on 7 hits. Paul O'Neill had 2 hits for 2 RBIs. Bernie had a 2-run homer. Uh, in the bottom of the 3rd inning, had a pretty long string of walks there, as you had Bernie, Tino, Strawberry, and Posada all walk 4 times in a row. So after 4 innings, the Yankees had a 8-2 lead. However, the Mets were able to claw back into the game with 5 runs in the top half of the 6th inning. Mookie Wilson had a 3-run homer, followed by RBI singles by Kevin Mitchell and Keith Hernandez. So we go to the 7th inning with an 8-7 lead, and the Yankees were able to hold them off from there. Uh, this was a good outing by the Yankee bullpen as they combined to pitch 3 1/3 shutout innings. Ramiro Mendoza, inning and a third. Graham Lloyd, 1 inning. Mariano Rivera, 1 inning. So the Yankees are able to get the series to a game number 6. Okay, so moving on to game number 6 now, we have a rematch of the game 2 starters between David Cone for the Yankees and Bob Ojeda for the New York Mets. And as I stated at the top of the video, Bob Ojeda, between the two teams, has by far the best card out of any of the starters on the two teams. So I pretty much knew going into this game that the 98 Yankees were in trouble going into this game. So let's take a look at what happened here. And you can see the 1986 Mets were able to jump on David Cone for a big bottom half of the 3rd inning. The big hit being Mookie Wilson hitting a 3-run home run to make the score 5-0. And then Keith Hernandez added a home run in the bottom half of the 4th inning to make the score 6-0. Yankees were able to scratch together a couple of runs in the 5th and the 6th to make the game kind of interesting. In the top half of the 8th inning, Yankees had a little bit of a chance as they had 2 on, 2 out with Paul O'Neill up. So that was where I decided to just keep Bob Ojeda in there because he was pitching pretty well in the game, and I felt like he was really the best card um, in the Mets staff, including what the Mets bring out of the bullpen. So Bob Ojeda was able to get Paul O'Neill out. So Ojeda goes 8 innings, only allowing 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. And Jesse Orosco was able to close the game out with a scoreless ninth inning. And I just realized on my score sheet here, I gave Jesse Orosco a save. There's no save in a 6-2 game, but anyway, the 1986 Mets defeat the 1998 Yankees 4 games to 2, and I would say even the '86 Mets beat the Yankees fairly easily, and pretty much everything that I thought going into the series came through as I was playing this series along. The 1986 Mets had the superior bullpen, and it really played a major role in the series. Big performance in this series was from Bob Ojeda, as I thought he would going into the series, as in his 2 games, he gets 2 wins, pitching 15 innings and only allowing 3 runs. So there we have it. The 1986 New York Mets defeat the 1998 New York Yankees 4 games to 2.